Alright guys, so today's video we're going to check out the first pair of true wireless earbuds from the company Nura. And Nura is one of those companies, no matter what product they're coming out with, I'm actually excited to check it out, mainly because there's usually technology that we haven't seen. They're really focused on audio quality, which is obviously very important. And they're also one of those companies that seems to listen to reviewers and consumers, because I've seen them update products. I've also seen them make some changes when a new product comes out that was maybe an issue on a previous one. So today we're going to be checking out the NuraTrue, which is Nura's first pair of true wireless earbuds. Now it is a hybrid active noise canceling pair of earbuds. They do come in at $200. So as far as a noise canceling pair of earbuds, if you're going to go ahead and try to compare it to the Bose and the Sonys as far as the price goes, they already come in at about $80 cheaper. But we do need to see what all comes inside the box. We need to see what kind of technology is in this pair, how do they sound, and are they actually worth that $200 price tag. So to start with, the main selling point on this pair is the fact that it works with Nura's app. And so it is using that same technology that they use where it plays some tones inside of your ear in a way where it's trying to see how your ear reacts to those tones. And what it does is it creates this sound profile or custom EQ that's based off how it thinks your ears reacted to those tones. So how you like your bass, your mids, your treble. It tries to do this self-adjustment. I don't know if this is a gimmick. I don't know if this is something really that's just set up to kind of make your earbuds sound dull at first and then just brings them to life once you go through the setup. I'm not sure, but I do know with the Nura Loops and with the Nura phones, it makes a drastic difference, and it also makes a huge difference here as well. And that's important because there's no EQ controls within the app. You can't customize the EQ settings. There's no other pre-built settings. Really, the only thing you can do is adjust what they call their immersive mode, and really it's a bass slider. So if you want a lot of bass, you can just push it as far as you want. If you want to just tone these down where you're really just hearing your mids and treble and you don't want to feel the impact of bass, you can just slide it all the way in the other direction. I do like that they have this, but I really wish that they had true EQ controls. That way you could just adjust things the way that you want. Now also within the app, you can tell the smart sensors that the earbuds have what you want them to do. Out of the box, it's just set to auto pause when you take the earbuds out, and then it just resumes once you put them back in. But within the app, you can have it where just one earbud controls this, or you can just shut that feature off altogether. They are using Bluetooth 5.0, which is kind of surprising. They're not upgraded to 5.2. It does have aptX, AAC, and SBC playback. Now, as far as any kind of lag with movies or videos, I did not experience any lag there. And as far as gaming, there is a slight lag, but this is still a pair that I would easily recommend if you're looking for a pair to just use for all different types of media. Now moving over to the two different sound modes that are actually built into the earbuds, which is your active noise canceling, and then what they call their social mode, which to be honest is really just an ambient mode. The active noise canceling on this pair is just okay. It's nowhere near as good as the Sony or the Bose. It is definitely not the strong feature on this pair, although I know it's labeled as an active noise canceling pair of earbuds. I'm still able to hear people talking and all kind of sounds around me. It may slightly block out engine noises and air conditioner units and things like that, but it is nowhere near as strong as the Sony or Bose. So if you're looking just for noise canceling alone, this is not a pair that I would recommend for that. Now the social mode or ambient mode actually works very, very good. The surroundings sound pretty natural. I think the microphones that are on these do a really good job of picking all of that up. It's easy to switch over into that mode out of the box because it's set to just a single tap on the left earbud, and then it just makes it pretty convenient, especially if you're using these in maybe like an office type environment, or if you're going to be using them running, somebody comes up to talk to you or you want to be able to hear traffic. It's just easy to switch over into that mode. Now, if you are going to use these outdoors, they do have an IPX4 rating, which means they're going to be fine against rain and splashes, or if you're somebody that sweats heavily. But outside of that, I definitely would not submerge these into water. But an IPX4 rating seems to just fall in line with other active noise canceling pair of earbuds. Now, as far as what all comes inside the box, they do include 4 sets of silicone ear tips. They also include 1 set of foam ear tips. You get 2 different sizes of wing tips. So again, if you are going to use these outdoors, those wing tips just kind of keep them in place, keep them from moving around. And then as far as the charging cable, they've included a USB-C cable. And the case on this pair is not a Qi wireless charging case. I think a lot of people are going to have problems with this because in this price range, you kind of get to the point where you expect Qi wireless charging. And there's really also no fast charge feature on here. It says that it has a fast charging case, but it still takes 2 hours to charge your earbuds and around 2.5 hours to charge your case all the way to full. And speaking of the charging, the battery life I feel like is pretty decent, especially with this being a noise canceling pair of earbuds, because on the earbuds themselves, you're going to get around 6 hours, where with the charging case, you're going to get around 24 hours total. Now, moving over to looking at the actual case itself, the case and the earbuds remind me a lot of Microsoft's earbuds. The case kind of has a wider look to it. It's more flat than a lot of other ones. On the back, you can see the USB-C input for charging. And then around on the front, you have 4 indicator lights. That way you can kind of gauge how much battery life is on the case. Now, when you open the lid, you can see that the earbuds have that large, round, flat surface. Again, this reminds me a lot of the Microsoft earbuds. And one thing that Nura really listened to that a lot of people had issues with the Nura loops, the touch controls were located all over the outside surface. So you couldn't really move the earbuds around or try to adjust them without always accidentally causing a function to happen. And so with this pair, they made it where just the logo that's located in the center of that flat surface is where your touch controls are located. So this pair is a lot easier to adjust, and you're not having as many accidental touches. But speaking of that, as far as the controls on the earbuds themselves, sadly, they don't give you control over everything. In fact, they only have it where each earbud only allows 2 different functions. Now, like I said, you can go in the app and customize this, but you do have to sacrifice certain things, which means you're never going to have control over everything. So hopefully this again is something that maybe they will address in a firmware update, but do keep in mind you're not going to have all of your controls out of the box. Now, as far as using the earbuds individually, you can use either the left or the right by themselves, but when you're using one earbud at a time, it does disconnect you from the app, which means you're not going to be able to make different changes if you're only using one at a time, and it will switch over into mono mode where it keeps all of the audio going out of one earbud. Now, for you guys that like to use your earbuds for phone calls, I think they did a very good job here. I felt like the Nuras did a really good job of focusing on my voice and also doing a pretty decent job of blocking out my surroundings. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here.
Alright guys, so here is a mic test using the NuraTrues. I think overall it does a pretty decent job of picking up my voice, although I do feel like it sounds a little more digital than it does on other pairs. This is what it would sound like if you were to take a call. And so now here is a mic test with a crowd noise being played, which you can hear here. And so this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public.
So now let's talk about the sound, because the sound on these is definitely heavily affected by the drivers they decided to use. Now this pair uses 10mm low distortion dynamic drivers, and this pair is definitely dynamic, so it fits that mold easily. But that low distortion, you can tell that they're focusing so much on making sure that this pair doesn't distort that it really feels like it pulled back on the volume. I found that with using this pair, I'm pretty much listening to them at 100% all the time. And with other pairs, I'm usually at around 60%. So I really feel like this pair is about 2 to 3 notches lower than a lot of other earbuds. So if you're somebody that just likes to listen to your earbuds at full blast all the time, you are really going to feel like these are lacking. Now, getting away from the volume part itself, I absolutely love the way that the NuraTrue sounds. It's a very dynamic sounding earbud, and that's mainly because I kept the immersive slider at around 80%. I think at full blast, that's where you're just getting a lot of bass rumble, and if you turn it all the way down, it really can just suck the bass out of all the songs that you're listening to. But as far as the mids and the treble, I think they did an excellent job with making sure that it sounds very clean and very detailed, but also kind of keeping it warm at the same time, which just kind of makes it have a good mix with that very punchy bass. I went through all different type of genres, and I felt like with softer genres like classical and easy listening, the vocalist had a nice warm tone to their voice. You could tell that the vocalist was maybe pushed a little bit forward, so the mids are slightly forward. The treble is nice and clean. Now, this is not a treble that, in my opinion, gets close to the point of being bright, but you still have no issues with hearing all of these little subtle details. I also feel like the soundstage and the sound imaging is excellent. You feel like you have a nice open sound, and this pair just, again, does a very good job with details, so you really have no issue with being able to tell where different instruments and sounds are coming from. So as great as I think all of that is, I do still have quite a bit of cons when it comes to this pair. And one of them is the fact that at this price tag, a lot of these features that they don't have, you really are going to feel like they're lacking if you're somebody that's focused on features. Because if you're looking at this pair for active noise canceling, the active noise canceling is just okay. It's just not great. In fact, I wouldn't even say it's very good. I think it's doing just enough for subtle sounds. This pair also does not have Qi wireless charging. It also does not have a true fast charge feature. There's no EQ controls. And I also think the design of these, having that large flat surface, is just a design that, again, people are either going to love or hate. Now, I do wish that they took advantage of that large flat surface by maybe giving you like volume controls just by sliding. Maybe that's a way that they can fix the controls on these, which is also an issue. But if you look past all of those things, and it is quite a bit, this is still one of the best sounding true wireless earbuds on the market. It again shows that Nura is an audio company first. They focus a lot on that, and whether the app is actually doing anything specific, true to each person's hearing profile, in the end, it is an excellent sounding pair of earbuds. So I absolutely love using these. I'm not somebody that's focused as much on features, but I do understand the importance for the people that do. But if you're in it for audio alone, and if you're a bass head that enjoys subwoofers or headphones that have that haptic feedback that you can feel in your skull, this is probably the closest thing to it in a pair of true wireless earbuds. But guys, that's my video on the brand new NuraTrue earbuds from Nura. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.